Okay, awesome. Good evening, everyone.
Hey, hey, here we go. All right, let me get our gallery view going. And hello, we are on, you all. It is time. You know what time it is. So go ahead and share. You need to let somebody know that we are on. We are doing our sharing bit. We've got 5 minutes countdown for you all to share this out and let us know that you are here with us. I'm going to start sharing, and I want you to do the same. You have tuned into our Real Women chat that we have every Wednesday night, that we are able, and we are so elated to have you with us and to have you invite some folks to be with us tonight, because you are going to get so much out of this conversation. Thank you so much for being here. Let us know that you're here and start sharing. Start sharing and let someone know that you are tuning in and they should do the same. This is your opportunity to do that. We've got 4 minutes left. I'm going to tell you a little bit, give you a couple of announcements about Real Women, but more than anything, we want you to get some folks into this chat room right now so that we can have a conversation. This will be a conversation. It will not just be a one way you listen and we talk. We literally want you to ask your questions. We want you to share some things about yourself, and we want to interact with you. So join us right now. I think I've shared at all of my pages, and I'm just going to start looking for you all to say hello to me. That's what I'm looking for now. Let's see here. All right. Okay, you're coming on. I see you coming. I'm still waiting for some hellos. There you are. I see you, Keita and Lisa. Come on in and say hello. I've shared to all of our pages, so they should be able to find us at Real Women Rock, as well as this page. And Dr. Angela has shared, so please join us and let someone else know we are here. All right, with just a few minutes before 8, I want to say hello. I'll do this again, but my name is Trenace Richardson. I am the founder of Real Women, and we are a 501c3 nonprofit that exists to create safe spaces for women to do personal development work on themselves. And we do that through sister circles. We normally host them virtually and in person, but because we cannot get in person, hello, you all, come on in. Because we cannot get in person right now in this season, we are hosting several opportunities for you to meet with us virtually. And so I'm so elated to see you. Please make sure that you're sharing. Hello, Debbie. Hello, Susan. Come on in. Say hello to us. Let us know that you're here. We have the northern part of the East Coast represented and a southern part of the East Coast in myself and Dr. Angela. So we hope that you'll represent your area and let us know that you're here. I see the loves and the likes. Keep them coming. Again, this is Real Women, our Facebook Live chat. I am Dr. Trenace Richardson, and we have been in existence since 2013. We host physical in-person sister circles. We've done them around the country and abroad. But we host them on a monthly basis in Charles County, Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland, Northern Virginia, and Hampton Roads, Virginia. We've also hosted young adult Real Women gatherings as well. And so we are here to help create this safe space for women to do personal development work on themselves. We also host physical, not just physical, but virtual sister circles. And our virtual sister circles have typically just been relegated to our all access members. Those all access members invest in their own personal development on a regular basis, and we build community by helping each other. But we have, in this season of COVID, we have opened up our virtual doors to everyone. And so in the month of June, you have 2 opportunities 2 opportunities to join us virtually on June 13th and June 27th. Those 2 days, you can find all of this information at our website, realwomenrock.org, as well as our Facebook page. We're also on Twitter and Instagram. Our Facebook page is Real Women Rock. You can find the information about those topics because they are going to be hot in the summer. June's topics are hot. We're going to talk about, the first one is the spirituality of sexuality. The spirituality of sexuality. And then the second one will be, we're going to talk about what self-care looks like after a relationship breakup. So you don't want to miss those. Please join us in the month of June. And you find that information at realwomenrock.org, as well as our Facebook page, Real Women Rock, and all other social media. Yay, I see y'all in here. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining us. And it's 8 o'clock, so we are ready to roll. Again, my name is Trenace Richardson, and it is my pleasure to bring you an amazing guest. We like to give you on Wednesdays a sneak peek into a real conversation with some real women. And tonight's conversation doesn't get any realer than Dr. Angela Cudger. I am so elated to have her here. I've had the opportunity in years past to be on panels with her, but I have watched up close and afar at the wonderful work. She's an academician. She's also in the medical industry, and she is a life coach. She is really aware of integrative health and wellness. And that's why we have termed this Understanding Integrative Health and Wellness, because as the founder, hello somebody, the founder of her own institute, her own holistic health institute, she is fully qualified to help usher us into a conversation of what it means to be holistically healthy. And so I cannot wait to have this conversation with you, Dr. Angela. Could you please say hello to the people and share anything about yourself that you would like to share?
Man, well, I think you did an outstanding job sharing all the gifts and things that I kind of have. And
I love you, girl. I love you.
hopefully over the course of this conversation, some more things will come out too. So I really appreciate that outstanding introduction, Trenace. One of the things I want to say though is that I love the fact that you have this platform. I am equally as grateful to serve beside women who, like you, who empower, women who give back, women who are selfless in their purpose, and women who are just out there doing it with no holds barred, right? Who are showing up every day because that's what the world needs right now. Who are showing up, who are shining, and then creating the place of permission for so many others to do the same. I am so extremely grateful that you thought of me and that you see me and that you have me on this particular platform. Thank you for answering the call and creating this for all of us, right? So if you guys are tuning in and you haven't shared this out, remember, these are not just live streams and watch parties. These are live streams. Anytime the energy gets together in spaces like this, somebody's life will be changed or shifted. So make sure you share it out. If it's something that you know you need, someone else in your circle probably needs it too. So make sure you share this out so other people can actually get on here and get this information, or start a watch party of your own on your own timelines in your own groups and things like that. I think you did an amazing job introducing me, right? And I know that we can spend the majority of this time really kind of getting to the meat of integrative health and wellness, because everybody's at home these days and it's time to really kind of dig into that.
Yeah, I am so ready for that. Thank you so much for just your gracious introduction and how you connect with us already. So I'm looking forward to doing this. So I put a question in the chat for everyone because I want to know what your questions are about integrative health and wellness. I know you've got questions. You probably just want to know what it is. So I'm gonna start off with that. But whatever your questions are, if you are experiencing something anything, whether it's mind, body, or soul, spirit, just put it in the chat. Let us know what your questions are. As we are sharing with each other, Dr. Angela and I, you may come up with other questions, and I'm going to periodically go back to the chat to see how you're doing in there. So in general, what are your questions? But more specifically, how do you feel like you are doing in your health and wellness journey these days? I'm going to give you some numbers to make it easy for you. You can use descriptive words, but a 1 means blah, I am not doing well. This COVID and all of this anxiety I have, like things are not going well for me. 2 is somewhere in between. And 3 means I am knocking it out of the park because I am feeling good and I'm moving and eating well and all those types of things. I'm sleeping good. I'm resting. I'm doing the things that I know my mind, body, and spirit need. That's your 3. If it's a 1, you're telling us you're not feeling too good. So those 2 things, what questions do you have? And then how are you feeling about your health and wellness journey? And while they're doing that, Dr. Angela, if you could just give us an idea of what integrative health and wellness is, and just kind of what your journey looked like getting to it. Like how and why did you step into this area of work?
I love that. That's a great question. One of the things I want us to remember is that when we're talking about health in and of itself, the word has everything to do with your physical body. Okay. Mm-hmm. Your health has everything to do with head to toe, physical body, the systems, and how well they work together, right? Mm-hmm. Wellness combines the mind and the soul with that. Now, when we look at the word integrative and we put that in front of health, now we're talking about things that are outside of our body, but that directly affect and reflect on what our physical body looks like. So let me give you guys a quick example of that, right? A quick example of that is number 1 reason people eat the way that they eat is because the people around them eat that way. So now we're looking at 2 things, not just the food that's on your plate, but the social relationships that drive why you eat what you're eating. Mm-hmm. That's when you start looking at the way you eat and the way you feel and show up in an integrative fashion. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. So that's what integrative health is. Integrative health says there are several different things that drive the decision and directly affect how my physical body looks, how it feels, how it heals, and how it shows up and serves. That's what integrative health is. And it can be anything from your social relationships, your finances, right? The friends you keep around you, the physical activity you do with your body, right? It can encompass quite a few different things. And the beautiful thing is at Legacy, we kind of teach this array of things that really drive why people do what they do and how they eat. Now, your second question was, how did I get into this, right? Mm-hmm. So everybody in and of themselves have their own journey, right? For those of you who know this, or even if you don't know this, by trade, I was in the field of anesthesia. And so for every anesthesiologist, there are 4 anesthetists. In many cases, if you go to a major city, you're probably not going to talk to an anesthesiologist. That person, that doctor is over 4 anesthetists who do their job on a daily basis, all day, every day. The only time that changes is if you kind of go to a foreign country or you do something like that. But in general, there are several mid-level providers in anesthesia that the doctors oversee. I was one of those mid-level providers. Now, prior to that, I had over a decade of experience in critical care. And so by trade, everything in my life was traditional medicine. I knew nothing about integrative health. We weren't taught this. It's not traditionally taught in school at all. So when people say, and I say this, Trinace, because people are always ragging on doctors, right? They're like, oh, they didn't give me the right information. When in reality, they didn't have it to give you. Mm-hmm. They just didn't get it, right? They're not holding something back from you, right? They just don't have it, right? It's like going to a money coach to fix your spirituality. Mm-hmm. They might be able to do a little something to help you, but in the grand scheme of things, you're probably going to be better off pinpointing the person who can actually help you with that. That's where integrative holistic health coaches come into play, right? Mm-hmm. And so on my own journey, I saw a lot of people coming in for surgery and coming in for procedures and into the hospital for things that could be fixed with something that was integrative, with things that could be fixed with whole foods, with changing their lifestyle, adding mindfulness, right? Adding some different things that involve mind, body, and soul harmony. And so they were coming in to get their bodies and things changed because they simply didn't know that there was an integrative expert, or there were integrative experts or alternative medical experts. And so it forced me to ethically look into alternatives for these people and look into what it would be like to make sure that these people had an alternative or something else was out there. You know what? Over the years, though, I'll say this, it not only changed my own personal life from someone who used to have anxiety attacks, depression, right? Being significantly shy, right? And being all these different things that in the grand scheme of things would keep me from showing up. So coming all the way from that space to the space that says, I'm willing to walk away from this because in my heart, it ethically is not right anymore. Right. And being able to truly surrender the entire career. Right. So I can't even go back and renew a license. Right. I made it to where I did not give myself the opportunity to go back to this because I was so sure of my purpose on this planet. I was so sure that there is a way for people to finally heal if it is what they choose to do. And so for me, that is where legacy comes from. That is why I created this school. Now I lean on my medical knowledge in the school, but I also lean on my knowledge in the metaphysical space, in the holistic space, in the movement space. So I bring all these pieces together and truly teach holistic health coaches how to actually perfect the technique of health coaching. And we graduate some great people. So if you're out there listening, you can shout out your cohort or whatever the year is you graduated, if you're listening and you're from Legacy. So that's a little bit of my story, because I know we got some other stuff we want to get into.
Yeah, no, this is great. I'm so glad that you took the time to share, though, because some folks may be listening right now and they have tried very traditional routes to heal some ailments that were happening with them, both internally and or externally, and have found them to be lacking or wanting, and may have heard about some other ways and some other thinkings and other processes that are a little more non-traditional, that are more holistically involved, and they've been trying to figure out whether or not. So hearing about your journey and what got you to it, that you did start off in a more traditional sense as it relates to medicine, and you moved because you saw that it wasn't, that there were different, I love what you said, there were other ways that, for example, surgeries and all these other things, there were other ways that these ailments could be addressed that people were not utilizing. And I love that you talked about whole foods and all those things. I think sometimes we don't utilize the things that God has given us and we wait for and fully utilize and lean on the things that he has allowed man to create. And so I love that journey that you have just explained to us. And I see in the chat, we've got some 3s in the chat, Dr. Angela, for some folks feeling really good about their health right now. We've got a 2.5, and I love that honesty, because that's somewhere, I'm on my way. I'm on the journey to feeling good about my health. And then we have some 1s in here where there's some MS is an issue, anxiety, not sleeping, maybe some weight gain, and taking some medication. It sounds like there's a little bit low dose of Paxil. The generic was causing a rash, weight gain, and so there's all of these things that come along with medical issues, because then you have the medical issue, then you got the medication that causes side effects and all those types of things, right? So I guess I would ask you, because there's a lot here that she mentioned, but it says basically just waiting to see how I feel once the medication is out of my system. I love that, Miss Mary, trying to get it together without feeling but you're feeling frustrated. Let me ask this, because this might get to some of what Miss Mary is talking about, and you can address it in any way that you like. When we see these illnesses manifesting in our bodies, when we see things coming up for us, I know that, and please address this and correct me even if you hear something that's a bit awry, but I know that, some of it comes genetically, and some of it comes, as you mentioned earlier, environmentally. But could we talk about some root causes,
Mm-hmm.
and as a result, some very over just kind of over the counter, just what we could possibly do to address some of the root causes, just some real apparent things that we can do to address those.
Yeah, yeah. And so I want to make it clear that when we're looking at specific disease processes for a specific person or medications that a person is on, it's difficult to give any specific advice because you want to be correct when you speak. And that takes looking at that person's entire story, right? But without speaking specifically to Mary and the things that she has, one of the things I will suggest to her is that if you haven't already yet, it's worth getting with a holistic health coach, and one that is specifically from Legacy. And I'm going to share with you why in here in just a moment. Getting to the question though, some of the root causes. Here's one of the things that a lot of people don't really know. Probably about, and it's one of the things we expound on in Legacy heavily, probably about 98 to 99% of disease and disease states do not start with the cells. Let me say that again.
Yeah, please.
Probably 98 to 99%, right, of chronic disease states or disease states that a person may carry around does not originate in the cells. It originates in the subtle bodies. Now, let me explain what those are, because I know there's a lot of people like, well, what is that? Because I thought I just got my physical body. Well, there's 7 other bodies that you have that come together to make up who you are. And in general, one of those bodies sees an ailment first, and then it manifests in your physical body. So all of these other bodies that you have are non-physical. These are your spiritual bodies. This is why integrative health, integrative nutrition, and integrative ways of eating and living are vitally important. There are several things that we can catch and change the trajectory of what would have been a disease by doing mindfulness, by doing yoga, by doing something that integrates the mind, the body, and the soul. Because disease originates not at a cellular level. That's the last place it shows up. But it originates somewhere in the spiritual space first. And so it's important that we are tuned into that and we understand that. Now, without knowing Mary's entire story, right? Because when a person is able to sit down with the health coach, specifically an integrative health coach, they can literally lay out, here is when it started. And then that coach can say, here's where the issue actually is. So adding all these other physical things to you, making you exercise, making you eat better, yeah, those things help, but they are not getting to the root cause. A lot of times, specifically weight gain, anxiety, depression, they come from a much deeper thing that sometimes traditional coaching is not designed to go in and get out, right? But holistic health coaching is designed to look at all of the pieces, all of the things that encompass a person in an integrative way, and then devise a plan to be able to help that person heal should they choose to. But it's difficult to pinpoint one thing and say, go get this, when we don't really know what the root cause is, right? But we can say that it stems from something deeper inside of a person. One of the things I will say that if you haven't already yet, if you don't have this book, it is called, what is the name of that book? Letting Go, right? Is the name of that book. And you can look this up. You can Google it. You can YouTube it. You can watch the information about it. But it's called Letting Go. And it's by a person named Dr. Hawkins. He speaks specifically to the technique of going in and finding the root cause of why you have a specific disease and how to eventually let that go and allow your healing to come forth. And then you can change all the other things on your plate and who you're around and things like that. But most things originate from a much deeper level. And we can get into genetics too, if you like, because there's some specific things around that, the passing on of things. But here we have today, science knows epigenetics now. Epigenetics says that if 5 generations before me had diabetes and I understand what epigenetics is, I can literally go in and turn on and off switches to genes that stop it in my family line going forward. And so we have some really, really powerful stuff available to us when we look at it in an integrative fashion. So no longer do we have the excuse of everybody in my family carries it. there's information for you to shut it off. No longer can we say, you know, the only thing I know of is what my doctor says. What your doctor says is a suggestion that you should listen to, but you should also go and get more information for your own self and for your own healing. I think the thing that holds most people back the most is choosing healing, Trinace. And in many cases over our lives, we have always allowed someone else to choose what we eat, who we're with, what we drive, where we live. Everybody everywhere else dictates who and what we become. And so when we have to choose healing, it's a journey we've got to take. And no one can really hold our hand and do that. We have to get up every day and choose it. And that makes it really, really tough for some people.
Let me tell you how powerful this is, Dr. Angela, and thank you not just for all the wisdom that you shared, but you even gave us a powerful resource to attain, and so I'm loving that. But this is so powerful because we have just been on these last Wednesday nights, this track of dealing with our physical health. Literally last week, we talked with Tama about our vaginal health and womb wellness. And even when we're talking about vaginal health and womb wellness, she talked about getting to the spiritual root of things. And so there is absolutely no way we can get around dealing with what is really the root cause, what's under the symptoms, what's under the genetic and generational, backstory behind it, that there's something going on that what you just hit on that causes us to feel powerless. And so to find a way to gain control back from literally the inside out, to know that we do have, that this is the only, depending upon what you believe, this is literally the only life that we have to live. Like, this is the one body that I have.
This one, yeah.
I am responsible for this temple. And so and all of the spiritual, the spirit, mind, body, and whatever other ways you want to term it, all that is me. I am responsible for that. And I can operate in a way that allows me to direct it and control what happens. And I think some of us, as you said, we leave the power to somebody else. I love that you shared all of that. Some folks have said, good stuff, break that chain. They've amen the letting go resource. Kimberly said disease originates in the spiritual space first, get to the root. And I would think that you have really addressed this, but arthritis has also been mentioned in the chat. Arthritis in the back. Anything you would recommend for that? It may be some of what you've already said, but I wanted to honor the question that was asked in the chat.
For sure. And arthritis, there are a lot of different things that a person can do with that, depending on how, obviously not giving out personal advice because I don't know that person's specific stories or anything like that. Yeah. But in general, arthritis, we're looking at something that is inflammatory, right? So anytime a person has a bout of something that goes up, down, it is an inflammatory, or typically medically what we term as an inflammatory process in most cases, depending on what's going on with that specific person. And so what you want to do is either reduce or reverse the inflammation process. And that comes about, that can immediately come about with what a person is eating. So we're looking at whole foods, dark leafy greens, dark colored foods, dark reds, dark oranges, right? And some of the things that are truly dark like that are going to be your spices, your paprika, right? Your black pepper. Anything that has to do with a spice is one of the easiest and quickest ways, right? Cinnamon, these things you're going to add to smoothies, you're going to add to your foods, you're going to add to a lot of different things. These tend to give the body more of a warming effect and allow it to reverse or reduce the inflammation. Now here again, going back to the root cause, that person still needs to figure out what's going on and where, really sit down and think about, when did this start? Because in a lot of cases, there's a pivotal story around how they discovered it and why they decided to reach out for more insight on what was going on with them, right? And so that's one of the main things we want to look at is, when did it start? Pinpoint, when did it start? What in your life had changed? What was different? Was there a subtle shift or a huge shift in everything or anything concerning your life? And how did that immediately affect you? This gives a person the most insight on why a disease process has occurred or showed up. And then one of the last things I'll say that a person that we want to be aware of is something on the body called the fascia, and that's FASCIA, I think. A lot of people don't really know about the fascia, but the fascia is why you have the shape you have. It wraps all of the entire body. And we used to medically just think it was just a wrap around the body that's underneath the skin, and it just wraps everything. But now we know it has its own energy source. It stores old beliefs. It stores stagnant energy. And this is why when a person starts to do yoga, they notice that they have such an elevation, such an ascended personality, and such an ascended experience. And it's because they're moving the fascia and they're moving all that stuck, stagnant, stored energy. And as a result, disease just cannot stay in that body. And so, right. Yes. Right. You say you're a witness.
I'm a witness that yoga can do that for you. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's one of the things they want to look at as well. If there's stuck or stagnant energy anywhere, how can that change without aggravating the arthritis as well?
Yeah. Thank you for that. I have just one more question for you before I ask you to share all of the wonderful ways that people can connect with you, because I want people to know this whole power and taking our health and wellness, our integrated health and wellness into our own hands. We literally are not doing all that we can if we are not watching what we eat, if we are not getting the rest that we need, if we are not, counseling, health coaches, if we are not trying to access all of these things that are available to us, we are not doing all that we can do. And so for us, I'll speak for myself, for me to have in a season of woe is me, and why am I feeling like this? Why am I down? And, why am I having this health issue, fibroids or whatever? And me not do the things that I know, just bottom line, whole foods and all those things, I am not taking control of the moment. And so just starting there, I think, is what I hear you saying, starting with those basics and then digging deeper to the root causes can really help us address so much.
Tremendously.
Yeah, that's what I heard you saying. So thank you for sharing that. And so many have agreed, even Mary said she can really see that there were situations in her life that kind of brought her to the place where she is right now. And so she acknowledges that. And then some other folks said agreed that there was injuries that happened and huge shifts in moving from one state to another. So it can be environmental, and looking at those things and how to address those, I believe, will really help us as it relates to health and wellness.
And one thing,
please continue.
I was going to say, and one thing to remember for the person who said that it was an injury or something like that, that then allowed the joints and things like that to not be as mobile as they could be. Remember that when these events happen, the key to these things is that there's also a shift in the mind. Right. And the belief system. Right. And so and that belief system says, I'm inviting this in. That belief system says, I no longer can move or do this or do that. And the one thing I learned, Trinace, is that now that I'm going through a doctorate of metaphysics program, one of the things I've learned is that if it's a mind game, then anybody has the power to shift it.
Ooh,
right?
Good.
And if it's like I used to always say, if it's a game of favoritism and things like that, I might not win that. But if it's a mind game, if it's a, I have to think it and believe it, I got it. Like I'm just one of those people, but some people have to work at that. And so every day they have to choose to think something different. And that can be tough right now with everything going on in the world right now. Every single one of us is subject to feel what is going on with the collective consciousness, right? We are subject to feel what's happening to Black men,
Yep.
We are subject to feel what is happening with COVID-19 and the elderly. We are subject to feel what's happening in our communities. We're subject to feel what's happening with the rate of it spreading, going back up, right? When we thought we were on the other side of this thing. So we're subject to truly feel and give into that. But one of the things we want to understand is that it is imperative at this time to protect your thought processes and your mind, because that is where everything is going to stem from. So there are some of us who are showing up regularly and healing. I've healed even more since we went into quarantine, right? So there are some people diving deep while they are not being pulled in a bunch of different directions. But here's the thing, me or anyone else, it's no more different than you or anyone else watching this. You get up every day, and in your mind first, you choose healing. And from there, your body will follow. It is divine law. It has to follow. I'm trying to see. Okay, good. I think you froze, but you're good now.
Yeah, I was like, one of us froze. I don't know which one it was. We're back.
Right. So I was just saying that when what a person thinks, they can bring into reality. So it's a divine law for them to be able to wake up every day, choose healing, and then go with that and allow that to manifest for themselves. It absolutely can.
Yeah, that is so good. And you reminded me literally when you said protect your thought processes. My devotion has been Proverbs 4, and it's like 20 through 27 or something. It's, guard the affections of your heart, guard, and the idea that those things that we love and desire, I honestly thought initially it was, guard, like literally like keep people away and that kind of thing. But it's literally to what I desire, what I love, what I think, what is true to me. Protect it. Don't allow it to change. Don't allow it to morph and adapt to what everybody else wants and what everybody else wants you to do, because there is a true you. There is a core you in your thought processes, in your desires, your passions, your purpose, all of those things that when you protect those, when you actually live those out and don't allow outside influences to dilute those for you, that's how you live out fully integratively. And I just thought about that when you were sharing just now.
Yep. Yeah. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Kimberly says every morning choose divine health. I love that. And protect your thought process. And we heard that someone said it's a really good reminder of the mind game. I love this conversation. I can't keep you forever because people pay you for this kind of stuff. I want you to talk more about the Legacy Holistic Health Institute. You do. Any final words, like if you had to leave us with anything in addition to how we can connect with you, the time is yours to kind of share with us kind of where you are, how we can find you, and what you want to leave with us.
Awesome. So really quickly about Legacy, it is a health coach training school. If you are not familiar with what health coaches are and what they can do, you definitely want to look into that. One of the things that I love about Legacy is that we are literally, it is our mission, Trinace, and it's a big mission. Every time I mention it, I try to hold back tears, right? Our biggest mission is to put a well-trained, holistic person in every family on this planet. The information about going deeper, the information about healing, what you should eat, having alternatives. You should not have to look to just your healthcare providers for those things. Now more than ever, we see we need some different kind of information, right? And it would be beautiful if someone in our family already had that information to give us. That is what Legacy is on a quest to do. And so holistic health coaches literally devise plans for people to be able to go deeper, learn more about themselves, and reach all the goals that they're looking to do, okay? Now, if you've been displaced by employment and all those different things, you definitely want to look at an alternative, because there are tons of corporate companies right now that will even allow health coaching students to start coaching from home and get paid for it. So it is just like we're in such a dire need for people who know alternative information to be able to help with everything that is going going on right now, and truly to be able to support the healthcare community too. So if you are that person and people are asking you for advice, or you just want to take your own deeper journey, you definitely want to go to discoverlegacy.info. So that's discoverlegacy.info. And you can watch that quick webinar this evening. You're at home anyway. Take about 20 minutes, watch that webinar, and then go ahead and apply, because you actually might be able to get a scholarship so that you can be a part of this movement, okay? And really start to help other people on the planet. And so you want to go to discoverlegacy.info if you're looking for more information. If you're just looking for support, you're on your journey and you're not really sure health coaching is for you and you're here to support other people, you can get all the support you're looking for in the Legacy Wellness Tribe. Now, if you're looking for that and you want people to celebrate you and help you on your journey, you want to go to legacywellnesstribe.com. Those are the two quickest ways to stay connected to what Legacy is doing. And I really want to say this really quickly, Trinace. There are tons of health coaching schools on the planet, and they do a lot of different things. None of them, not one on the planet, teaches the integrative way that we teach at Legacy, with the subtle bodies, with the spirituality, with the chakras, the food, and the medical disease process and medications and things like that. No school brings all these pieces together the way that we do. And in addition to that, this is the only Black-owned school on the planet in the space. So everything that we do is making history. So when you become a part of this movement, you are making history by being a part of Legacy and being a part of this family, and being able to spread the information to your own family. Yeah. So this really is for the people who want to step forward and be that pillar for their legacy and for their families, right? Everyone else, you can go to the Legacy Wellness Tribe at legacywellnesstribe.com.
Mm-hmm. Revolutionary. What you are doing is revolutionary. And I believe we are really in the midst of a health and wellness revolution, where we see that what has been done has not been working well, and we have to do some things different for our bodies, for our families, and for our communities. So I am just godly proud of you, Dr. Angela. Thank you for all of the work that you're doing. You mentioned you all's massive goal. I love that. You didn't even say in every community. You said in every family.
Every family needs one. We need it.
Yes, and it's so funny because we believe at Real Women, we believe our goal is to make sure every woman has access to a safe space and a circle of sisters. So every woman should be able to have that. And if you're listening, if you're watching the replay or you're watching live now, share this with somebody that you know has been on a health and wellness journey of their own, and they either need the support or based on their story, that they need to hear how they can help empower someone else. This is that time. This is that revolutionary time for all of us to do that. You have gotten so much information tonight. Can you all help me in the chat? Thank Dr. Angela. This has been just a sneak peek, just a snippet. We do 30 minutes just to give you a sneak peek into a real conversation with real women. We ask that you would visit all of those websites that Dr. Angela gave. Come back to the chat so that you can see them. They're in the chat. And we ask that you would ask those questions, go to those sites and look up that information so that you can receive the support or the information about how you can empower others. We'd also ask that you would go to realwomenrock.org. Again, that's realwomenrock.org. We have been providing you, in addition to these Wednesday night sessions, we have been providing you at least 2 virtual sister circles free of charge every month. So during this COVID coronavirus time period, we are making our services available to you at no charge. We ask that you tune in and invite your sister girlfriends. In the month of June, we have 2 hot topics for you. We are literally going to talk about the spirituality of sexuality. If you have any issues with that title, you need to come. If you fully feel that title, you need to come. The spirituality of sexuality. And our second one, the last part of the month, is going to be self-care after a relationship breakup. And if you've ever been through a breakup, you know that's some real stuff that you begin to neglect yourself. And so we're going to talk about both of those things and leave with tangible takeaways. You find that information at realwomenrock.org and also at our Facebook page under our events at Real Women Rock. Thank you again, Dr. Angela. So grateful for you being with us. And I'm sure you're going to hear from some of our folks because you have given us a wealth of information.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you again for this platform. I'm truly, truly grateful.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank y'all. See you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.